Something that is widely overlooked when it comes to education and the effects that it has on the motivation of students is the environment of their learning. While traveling, it has become very clear that the buildings used to educate in other countries are vastly different from in the US. While in Mexico, I was captivated by the bright colors that were at every turn. Those colors didn't stop on the streets, they overflowed into the halls of the buildings, filling the institutions with a jubilant spirit. At the college level and all the way down to the little rascals in kindergarten, radiant marks brushed the halls with words to instill elated character in each student who strolled through the campuses. From the brilliant blues covering the outside to the encouraged student-done graffiti in courtyards, creativity flooded these buildings. Students had joy and peace and exuberant smiles ready to be shared. These students were proud of their schools. They were proud of the buildings, of the community, of the teachers. Students assembled for their morning flag ceremony and belted out an affirmation of their love for their school. These students didn't need to mumble through the lyrics. They knew the song. They meant the words of it and were pleased. These schools weren't decadent in terms of technology and building materials. They weren't top of the line, brand new, but they were inviting. They were welcoming of all. They were home for these students. They claimed these places gladly, glowing in their uniforms and boasting in their abilities. Even in the lower class public school, these students' hearts were overflowing and their joy was immediately felt as you entered the gates and were met with a quote from the school's namesake, inspiring students to seek more. These students with less resources were still glowing and proud of their education. They wanted to be there. They wanted to attend. It wasn't their parents dragging them out of bed, forcing them to go. It was their choice, their loyalty to faculty and peers and to the name on their school they were proud of. These students are constantly encouraged every moment of every day. They are in these buildings, their facilities have color, they have a brilliance of life in them. They have joy and hope, and it shows in the students. Not only is this visible in Mexico, but also in the schools of Managua, Nicaragua. I have been blessed to be able to travel and work in schools in Nicaragua, and I have found that these schools are very similar to Querétaro. While they have very little resources, that doesn't stop the students and faculty and even the community from being proud of the crest on the uniforms and appreciating the institutions themselves. Schools in America don't take pride in their schools like that. Rather, in clubs, organizations, sporting teams, and classes. The buildings are clinical feeling, all the same, white walls almost everywhere, basic laminate and stained carpet floors, no colorful flares to the outside, just simple, neutral brick and stone. It's up to teachers to add a personal flair to the classroom, which usually ends up being extra cluttered educational mess plastered everywhere. Billboards shove college down every student's throat. Rather than motivating students with the educational tools, they force a one-minded way of the education system on every student. They don't take into account gap years or trade schools. Teachers are held to a very strict curriculum and are unable to even have time to teach extra things during the school day. If students want extra things, they often have to pay for them on top of giving up extra time. Many families are unable to do this due to lack of funds or transportation, and then the student loses out. School pride isn't based on pride in the institution or what it stands for, rather how many wins the football team has or how many people in a club placed in their last competition. Elementary students even focus on the high school that they will eventually go to, not giving a care to their current campus. They don't find pride in the mascot or the colors. They are only attending because it's the law and they must. These highly structured, cram-packed days, spewing a plethora of facts at students, suck out their desire to be there. There is no sign of joy with education because it has become so strict, and the strictness is even reflected in the mundane building environments and the quote decorations that are truly just more educational things constantly spewed at children with all signs of creativity and childlikeness stripped away. We should revert back to the colorfulness, to the joy, and to the excitement of learning through the buildings that we enlist our children in.